I think both are obviously very large spaces, both horizontal and vertical, and they are. You've seen a lot of investing happening in the Indian space, in the Indian internet space, both across horizontals and verticals. I think there are pros and cons. Horizontals have very large market sizes. You've seen guys like Alibaba; they will produce massive companies, etc. And I think verticals, they also, some verticals do have pretty large sizes, but I would say that verticals provide sort of slightly more deeper user experiences, and they also provide much better unit economics because there's a lot of focus on that particular vertical, right? So like we saw today that on Pepperfry, furniture is a focus. Right now, furniture delivery needs all kinds of different things. It need, for example, the delivery of the furniture has to happen in trucks and not on scooters. Then it has to be taken upstairs 20 floors, often not by lift. So you need 2 guys there or 3 guys there to carry it. Then it needs to be assembled in a house. Even moving a bed, and sometimes you might find that they want some more finish, a different change. Now you're not going to take the furniture back. Instead of taking brown, they wanted a slightly darker brown. The carpenter can come and do it. So they have a carpenter's network. So my sense is that certain categories are better suited to verticals, and obviously horizontal is still a very good space. Only difference is horizontals tend to have a lot more competition because the size of the pie is much higher, and because of that you find that sometimes horizontals are less capital efficient. They might take $3-4 billion to build out a horizontal, whereas vertical should happen at a fraction of that. At this point of time, in the Indian market, our horizontals are much more competitive. We've seen 6 horizontals right now. If you look at the vertical markets, I think typically you see 2, maybe in some verticals 3 at the most. But obviously in the vertical market, you should be the largest, ideally. But in horizontals, I would say because it's been successful globally, India is currently 6 players. Horizontals are focusing more on cross-sell, upsell, larger business modes. Verticals are very focused on certain spaces. You can't have a vertical in mobiles or electronics, right? It's part of a horizontal, but they're focused on certain spaces which need a different experience. And if that differentiation does not exist, the vertical doesn't need to exist. We have focused on the vertical side of the investment. I think that the amount of dollars it takes, the capital efficiency it has, right? And the vertical markets are pretty large in any case. So we've preferred to stay more on the vertical side. That's not to say that horizontals won't do well. Of course, they will do well. We're seeing some of the horizontals breaking out now, but we prefer to stay on the vertical side because they will also break even faster. Unit economics will be better. And we feel that the focused, differentiated experiences, right, will be very helpful. I think GMV-wise, horizontals will be much larger, but if you look at the valuation as a multiple of the GMV, verticals will actually probably command a higher valuation because of their differentiated experience. What we've seen in one of our companies called Quikr is that, at some point of time when you become the largest player in the market, then you also take on a verticalized approach, right? I think that it's not an easy approach. We haven't seen too many around the world do that. So I think this is, horizontals becoming verticals. But I think this is a very interesting sort of way and approach Quikr has taken to try and get both sides, both the horizontal as well as the vertical side. See, there are two things which need to happen for a horizontal to also go after the vertical spaces, right? Your competition needs to be a little more benign. You should have cracked the horizontal space, right? Now, if you look at our horizontals in e-com, right, they are all in a pretty significant there are 6 competitors at this point of time, right? If you count Ask Me Bazaar and if you count Shop Clues and all that. So it's very unlikely that they're going to verticalize very soon. Also, what happens is that, certain people, the consumers, they're used to horizontal experience. They don't want a vertical experience. So I personally think that horizontals and verticals will coexist. It's only in certain categories like classifieds that you can do both. I think furniture is the biggest. After that, I would say, baby is an interesting opportunity. Glasses, spectacles, company like Lenskart. We've seen a guy in lingerie do that. So I think, So I think wherever there is something different which is needed, where the vertical cannot lay, there's a company called Healthcard in the health space. So, companies where the consumer is looking for that destination, right, where something is a little more different. I think that's when the verticalization really kicks in. Normally, horizontals get funded first, and then verticals come in. As specialization, as the market matures, verticals come in, and in due course, you'll find verticals break even first, and horizontals break even later.